You know, I'll actually have a better format for this at some point or another, but I'm gonna use Madden to kind of make things a little bit. See how that goes. Right there should be good. I mean, I'm not blocking any like important readings. Get the name, you get the face, all that. Okay. So what this is gonna be, just to kind of get this channel back up before the next Madden and the Maximum Football game and all the other 2K and all these other games pop back up. I want to try and get this little mini series over the next, like, I don't know, 2, 3 weeks if I can do it right. I say 3 weeks, like 21 days is gonna be enough. It is what it is. But what I'm saying here is I'm gonna go through each team. Each team's gonna get their own little video. It could be 5 minutes long. It could be 30 minutes long, depending on how much I know about the team or how much in depth I choose to go about the team. There's gonna be some hot takes. There's gonna be some really hot takes, and I'm gonna piss off quite a few fans of each team. But I'm gonna give my mini explanation as an average person, average fan of the NFL itself, as to why your team will or won't make the playoffs. And, if I'm wrong, tell me why I'm wrong. If I'm right, tell me why I'm right. Agree with me. But the Saints, just to start off, just because they're in the NFC South, it's really it's really any team can make this playoff. Any team in this division can make the playoffs between Saints, Falcons, Bucks, and Panthers. I honestly think it's gonna come for the Saints. It's gonna come down to quarterback play from Derek Carr and coaching. They don't have Sean Payton anymore, and we saw how that kind of went last year with 3 out of the 4 teams going 7-10. The Falcons won more games than they probably should have, and I think the Panthers might have won more games too. The Bucks just they won enough games to get in there. So like I said, any team can really make this. But Derek Carr, what 4 years, 150 million. I don't think I would have chose Derek Carr. But out of the free agent quarterbacks, who else were you guys gonna choose? Because the Bucks just took Baker Mayfield. I think probably the Saints' best chance was probably waiting on the draft and just getting Stetson Bennett. But you know, Jameis Winston probably wasn't gonna be the answer. I don't think y'all really have the quarterback whisperer like that. They tried that, didn't really work out too well. Like he's played all right, but outside sources have been not outside sources like what's the word I'm looking for? Things outside of his control are just happening to him, and he can't really do too much about it. Like the injury, where the ACL injury happened, and then coming back, just not being able to play the same. Derek Carr, you're hoping the year that the Raiders went to the playoffs and he ended up hurting himself, where I think he ended up getting a broken leg. You're hoping for that Derek Carr before injury. And if Derek Carr plays really well, then this whole team is going to play well, and they're gonna go through. They're going to win the division, and they might even win a playoff game this year. But I mean, you still got Alvin Kamara. They add Jamal Williams and Keandre Miller. I'm just going through. This is just an updated roster based on close to TFG ratings and just based on opinion. But more or less, the ratings are more to keep the depth chart with who should be starting if the season were to start right now, still in the off season where people are doing their OTAs. And this is all before the new game comes out. I might redo these when the new Madden comes out, just to kind of give any point of view that might have changed. So anything that I think might be different that could happen. But I mean, they still have Taysom Hill, who can still do quite a few things. And I guess like the only reason why he's listed at fullback instead of tight end, they do the same thing in Madden. But you still got Taysom Hill, which means you still have that versatile weapon that can still do any and everything you ask of him. Michael Thomas, you got Chris Olave going in his second year. If he can stay healthy and not get hurt, then you probably have the tough to say because of the way like every team will probably try to claim. Excuse me. Every team will probably try to claim that they have the best duo, but arguably, and I'm wearing my Falcons jersey when I say this, and I hate that I'm even doing this video, like as a Falcons fan. Arguably, the Saints probably have the best 2 receivers, or best 2 upcoming. Michael Thomas, yeah, 30 years old by this point, can still still has some of the better hands. We need him to step back up to where he was when he had that 130 plus catch season when he was deemed the best receiver in the league, and make sure that with that contract he has, that he's worth every penny of it. Because if he doesn't show that he's worth it, then Saints kind of just lost out on something. And they kind of need to make up for that contract, because if he's getting $60 million this year, that's his cap hit. So it's kind of like either they do something with him now or they trade him. If they don't trade him, they need to produce. But if they trade him, then you have Chris Olave, Traquan Smith, and Shaheed that are going to be your top guys. Maybe James Washington kind of gets those reps. But, we don't know what's going to happen there. Maybe Perry comes out of nowhere. But if Michael Thomas is kept on this team and performs worth $60 million this year, if that's his contract, hit at least 50. I know it's at least 50, but if he performs at least $50 million worth, then the Saints should have one of the better passing attacks. Throw in Juwan Johnson too. I think the Saints offensively, through the skill position wise, minus quarterback, that's the only iffy thing for me, just because I don't know how Derek Carr is going to play. But I think they're going to be all right. I think they'll be just fine. Offensive line wise, it's the left side is a tiny bit concerning, not just because of ratings, but just knowing who's there. Left side is a little bit concerning. You have Eric McCoy still in the middle, still doing his thing, who should help out both the guards. So the interior should be just fine, and you have Ryan Ramczyk. So my concern is on the complete opposite. You'll hear in the Bucs video, but my concern with the Saints is their left side of their offensive line. I expect them to run a lot of screens, a lot of runs to the right side. You have Jamal Williams, who I'm pretty sure, didn't he lead the league in touchdowns, rushing touchdowns last year, even if it was just all goal line stuff? They're trying to get back what it feels like. They're trying to get back to that Alvin Kamara first 2 seasons where you had him and God. See, I'm not a Saints fan, and I'm throwing this away because I don't want to do this video. When you had Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, excuse me for messing that up, but when they had Kamara and Ingram, that 1-2 punch, and nobody could do anything about it, that's what they're going for. Excuse me there. But if they can get back to that, then they probably have the best chance of winning the division. But where this team's really going to be able to do a lot, and I feel like they're going to be just fine, is their defense. If Cameron Jordan doesn't regress too much, which I don't feel like he's going to, then along the defensive line, overall, will be fine. They brought in Brian Brees. They got Nathan Shepard, Kalen Sanders. I mean, they're gonna be asking their DTs to do quite a bit, and Cameron Jordan, is gonna have to really do what he's been doing already and command this D line. Now, linebacker situation, I'm not really gonna count the third linebacker on the field, because how often will you see any teams really running base? Especially, actually, you might actually see a decent amount of base. You're still going to see a whole lot of nickel, so I'll go with this. Still going to see a whole lot of nickel because not too many teams are going to run base defense in the NFC South just because of how much passing they want to do. Yeah, they want to run the ball, but everybody's going to pass. You had Mario Davis, who just continues to show that with age he gets better. He has not regressed, and it doesn't feel like he's going to regress anytime soon. But I mean, when it happens, it'll happen. But just hopefully it won't happen anytime soon. It'll be pretty slow. Pete Warner has been doing just fine. I don't see why anybody would have any kind of complaints. Saints fans, at me if you want to. I think the Saints overall will be just fine. They're going to be doing the same thing the Bucs are going to be doing, and that is relying on their defense very heavily because our offense might not get a whole lot done. But, this offense, if they play well enough, this offense will do just enough to make sure that the defense doesn't get completely screwed. And maybe Tyrann Mathieu with the other safety, Marcus May, Tyrann Mathieu won't be throwing his hands up every other play about why a deep ball got passed like he was in the Chiefs. Kicker, punter. But that's the Saints. And actually, I might. It's only been 10 minutes. I might try to go ahead and just do all these. We'll see how it goes. But I want to go a little bit, try to do a little more in depth. So overall, offense is gonna really rely. They're gonna run the ball. They're gonna run the ball heavily, but they're gonna run it out of three receiver sets. They're gonna do a quite a bit of trick plays. I know they don't have Sean Payton anymore, so it might not be as much, but they're still gonna be doing just as much of that. I feel like, how would you not do that with this team? They have the tools to get it done. Saints probably take the division this year. I hate to say it, but they probably have the strongest, if not second strongest, chance to take this division. So, Saints probably got it. If they don't win it, hey, I'll take that. Anybody but the Saints. But if they do win it, I won't be the least bit surprised. That'll conclude this. I mean, record wise, I'll give them 9 wins. They'll go 9-8. They'll just squeak by positive. They'll just beat. I think they'll just beat out Atlanta to get the division crown. And depending on who they play, they might not make it past wild card, because that's what it's going to be. Whoever wins this is going to be a wild card team. There is no like real big thing. And 9-10 wins is probably like the height of the teams that I see here. No more than 9. If like 9.5, if I got to choose like an over under, 9.5, 10 wins. That's what the Saints are going to be with. I don't see them or anybody else in this division getting any more. But hey, that's it for this one. I'm going to go make 3 of the other ones and try to get my opinions on those teams. So I will see you guys probably tomorrow, probably the next day, or the next day, and the next day. Who knows? If you come back here and I'm wrong after, I don't know, 10 months, if we come back here and I'm wrong, I'm not going to look at your comment. I'm going to look at it, but I'm definitely going to say something back. Like, you really came back here. I'm surprised and you're loyal. Thank you. But I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm going to go ahead and make these other ones. See you then.